Alright, so I passed the CDL test. I successfully did the parallel park. I drove around like 5-mile loop with lots of obstacles, questions like, did you see that sign, that kind of stuff. I almost stopped at a green arrow because the light turned yellow and red to go straight. I didn't notice the green arrow right away, so I almost stopped at it, which is an auto fail. But since I didn't fully stop and I acknowledged that there was a green arrow, he didn't give me an issue, and I made the turn. But probably because it's better to proceed with caution than it would be to just rip through the corner. And I did take one corner a little too fast. I was in a gear that was a little too high. I didn't really have time to shift because he kind of told me to turn right a little late, and so I just didn't really have the opportunity to shift into a lower gear. So I basically took it down to where the truck was starting to buck a little bit from too low RPMs, and then clutched in and took the turn, 90-degree turn at probably 2 or 3 miles an hour faster than I should have, but it was fine because I cleared the curb and I did the turn properly. It's just a little quicker than probably was considered comfortable. And the only thing he said was that I needed to work on my shifting because semi trucks don't have synchros in the transmission when in a manual. So when you push in the clutch and you shift from, say, first to second in a car or a truck, 99% of the time they have synchros, which synchronize the gears to mesh together properly. Semi trucks don't have that. When you go from one gear to the other, you have to time the gear shift properly. So you pull it out of one gear and then you put it into the next one once the timing of the engine speed comes down, and you can kind of do that by double clutching, which is pushing the clutch in a little, pushing the clutch in again a little bit more as you go into the next gear. And I'm not very good at that, and I don't really want to clutch at all. Technically you can float the gears like you do in a car where you don't even use the clutch, where you just pull the shifter out of gear and then drop it into the next gear when the speed gets right. But you're not allowed to do that at the DMV test, so you have no choice but to shift, with the clutch. And I ground gears a couple of times. Not horribly, I was still shifting okay, except that one corner. But it was, it was enough that he said, you need to work on your shifting, but you pass. And that's fine because most likely most of the trucks that I would be able to drive, most of the companies that'll hire me as a new CDL holder, most of those companies are going to be automatic trucks anyway. There's very few companies that have stick shifts anymore. It's just not, the clutches and the gear problems and the tranny problems caused by new drivers. It's just too much hassle. So they all go with automatics now, and that's fine with me. I'd rather be in an automatic anyway. I've been clutching cars and trucks for most of my adult life, and only owned a couple of automatics up until a few years ago because I preferred stick shift, and my knee started getting real bad. My left knee started getting real rough, and so I decided that I didn't want to clutch in traffic anymore. I don't want to do that all day, over and over and over and over and over, a million clutches every day. I want to just push on the gas and have it go, push on the brakes and have it shift. And so I'm okay with an automatic. I still know how to downshift even in an automatic. Although I'm not sure how that's done in a semi other than to put it into, because I'm told there's just park, drive, and reverse. Would you get your ass up there, dude? Jiminy Christmas, we got all these people trying to jam in together and you're let 5 parking spaces form in front of you, or 5 car spaces. We're merging onto the highway. So I'm not hired by any specific company yet. I just got a call 15-20 minutes ago now. I was waiting in line to check out at Costco for buying a case of water, and I got a call from a recruiter for multiple companies, and he sent me an application I'm supposed to fill out and send it back to him. But I've been looking at Knight and Swift, which is owned by Knight, and Western Express has shown interest, and CR England has shown interest. Werner has shown interest, but I'm not really interested in Werner that much. They have inward-facing cameras, and they've been buying self-driving trucks. So, I've heard a lot of real nasty stuff about them. They're all going to be ELD, which is electronic logging device, and that doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. A lot of people hate that thing. I don't think it's relevant. Doesn't matter. So I need to figure out where the bird is going. There's a woman on the island named Darcy who has a can't remember if it's a gala or a goffin. Looks exactly like Angel, except doesn't have the bald patch around the eye. And hers is a female and mine is a male. So she showed interest in breeding them. She's a retired police officer, and she's on Treasure Island. So we're going to start trying to introduce the birds, let them get to know each other, so that they might become friendly, and see if they can, crossbreed. She has a bunch of animals. I guess she has a small dog and a couple of cats and a couple of parakeets. I'm going to see if she wants to watch Ivy as well, but that seems pretty unlikely. It is possible, but it seems pretty unlikely. But I have 2 other friends, a girl named Christine who I work with at Instacart who's offered, and a girl named Liz who is renting canoes or kayaks at Treasure Island Marine, or Treasure Island Cove, Clipper Cove. And she and her husband offered to watch Ivy too on their boat over in Emeryville, which is pretty close. So that's not going to be a problem, but I have to deal with that. And then I want to take some of my stuff up to the farm and close it up inside my trailer. Valuable stuff that I don't want to get stolen off the boat. And, that should be about it. This guy said that if he could get me a job with a company out of Texas who would pay for my flight, would I be willing to fly to Texas to get the truck? And then the only question, of course, is that's a logistical nightmare in a lot of ways. When are they going to get me back to California? With Knight, I know that they're going to have me drive for 4 to 6 weeks, bring me back to California. They'll give me like a week off, issue me a truck, then I move into the truck and take the dog and the bird with me, and I'm on the road. And my home base is California. If my truck is picked up in Texas, will that company even bring me to California at all, ever? If we go 4 to 6 months, the people watching my bird and my dog are not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. And so that's going to be a questionable thing. But that's where we are. The test was, pretty straightforward and easy. And I'll get my actual physical license in my hand in 4 to 6 weeks. Or not 4 to 6 weeks, 7 to 10 days. But it goes up to the farm, so that, I got to try to parallel those two things. Bring stuff up to the farm to put in my trailer, including my canoe, my trolling motor for the canoe, and then pick up my license out of the mail in 10 days. And then, because I don't actually have a picture ID right now, not after that. So anyway, there we go, good to go. Next step for from going from a non-CDL to a CDL truck driver. Next.